新年吉祥，牛年如意. Hello everyone, my name is Sweetie. On behalf of Tzu KL Selangor, welcome to the 2020 Year-End Blessing Ceremony. We are glad to have you, the supporters, donors, volunteers and members of Tzu joining us through virtual connections and gathering here as one big family. The Year-End Blessing Ceremony marks the end of one year and the beginning of a brand new year. While we are unable to meet up face-to-face, we hope this virtual ceremony will bring you much peace and joy at home. The theme for this year's ceremony is Learn from the great lessons of our time to benefit all beings. Be kind and do good to bring harmony to the world. To officiate the opening of this ceremony, please enjoy the drum performance from our volunteers. May the sound of the beating drums be heard by all our families and friends near and far, wishing them good health and happiness always. ...2020 is a year struck by pandemic, but it is also a year of extraordinary resolution, courage, and love. Amidst these difficult times, Tzu Chi volunteers from all across the world light up like the beacons in darkness for those who are in need. Today, Tzu Chi has left his footprint of love in more than 190 countries, transcending beyond race and religion. It is time now to reflect what Tzu Chi has done for the needy in the past 1 year. Presenting to you the 2020 Tzu Chi Year Down the Memory Lane.
In 2020, Tzu Chi signed a memo of cooperation with several local governments across Taiwan.
慈济也有许多宝贵的经验，以及许多热心的志工。
In 2019, Tzu Chi volunteers in Taiwan mobilized a total of 18 million times to serve the needy. Their services translated to over $400 million in terms of manpower cost.
这只是小的，就不会害怕。
环境无好，经济绝对无好，安尼不就？
赞92啦，这个100块无回啦，100块拿回啦，很可爱啊。
爱是世间上看的惨远，人生
就是要你平平安安啊！听讲心动蹦蹦蹦，你无蹦蹦嘛心动平平叫，你看，来，蹦一个冰冰叫咧。
昨天瓦斯呢？
大嘞。
Life and death is only separated by a breath.
Kami memakamkan jenazah-jenazah ini. Udah puluhan tiap hari.
In 2020, a pandemic plunged the world into an unprecedented crisis.
Es como una película de terror, pues. Adentro parece un cementerio.
Para que nada, yo quisiera que me lo entierren a mi hermana.
É isso que eu peço para Deus todo dia.
Cosa ancora più tragica è che questi defunti venivano messi così nudi, da soli.
Medical professionals geared up physically and emotionally.
感动大家，大家就会努力的去照顾。
一旦心里面没有恐惧啊，我就可以更全心全意的来照顾病人。
不是就是放弃的时候。
As medical professionals worked on the front lines, Tzu Chi volunteers also did what they could to help people fight against the pandemic.
拿杯子都会抖，就告诉他说：“你抖什么？不要抖。”
الهدف من العمل هذا يعني نحن بدنا نأمن للناس احتياجات الكمامات، لأن بالسوق انفقد الكمامة نهائياً.
At Tzu Chi's headquarters, everyone was busy preparing COVID-19 supplies for those self-quarantined at home.
传递给每一位在隔离中的人，给他们最大的祝福。
In China, Tzu Chi was also busy delivering supplies.
感谢慈济的师兄师姐们的关心和关爱，有了你们的爱和支持，定不负众望。
A volunteer in Wuhan bought and delivered supplies all by himself.
多一个人就多一个风险。 这是给第7医院医护人员送去的生活物资，我们慈济基金会武汉志工团队去购买的采购。
应该是我们去感谢慈济，怎么是他们过来还跟我们发？我也想通过这次，就是让我们慈济和我们医疗机构的连接就更加的紧密。
我们安抚的是剩下的还有
900万的老百姓，所以再次我们所有的慈济志工来感恩大家。
好，谢谢你们，谢谢你们雪中送炭，既给我们带来了爱心，也给我们送来了温暖，让我们很感激。
Tzu Chi volunteers also delivered hot meals to doctors and nurses in hospitals.
保证温度，保证那个顾客在喝的时候他有一定的热度。
然后做这一份，其实我们是挺开心的。
在这种情况下还出门，然后真的很难，这种东西真的很难，真的很辛苦，所以就听了觉得很感动。
As of the end of 2020, Tzu Chi had brought pandemic relief supplies to 87 countries and regions around the world.
Thank you so much for considering us, listening to the real outcry of the poor sick people from India.
Master Jiang Yen, our friendship extends over 30 years. I ask God and Buddha to bless and guide you as you continue to reach out to all who need your loving help.
In Thailand, Tzu Chi gave out used clothes to refugees.
We cannot work, cannot living, and many problems. So she really helped too much about refugee living in Thailand.
In Indonesia, Tzu Chi worked with the military to bring aid to the poor impacted by the pandemic.
Dalam beberapa hari ini bisa membantu, karena yang diberikan itu kan bahan pokok untuk sehari-hari.
Makanya dapat sembako ini saya berterima kasih banget udah dapat ini.
Rasa sedih, Bu. Nggak apa-apa, Bu. Sedih lah, Bu, sedikit.
Thanks to Tzu Chi's quick response to disasters and its emergency and long-term recovery efforts in the aftermath, the Indonesian government awarded Tzu Chi for its contributions to the country and its people.
Adalah menunjukkan bahwa mari kita bersama-sama, semua lapisan apapun yang harus kita lakukan, sekecil apapun kita berbuat.
In May 2020, a Buddha Day ceremony was held at Tzu Chi's headquarters to honor Buddha Day, Mother's Day, and Tzu Chi Day. The ceremony was also held in many countries, including Myanmar, the Philippines, and Haiti. In Myanmar, donating rice is a common practice. In Malaysia, local business people came together to fundraise for the needy impacted by the COVID-19 pandemic.
We all know that there are many people who are doing so much worse than us and is deserving of all our help.
Feeling for the stateless people living in a seaborne lifestyle off Sabah, Malaysia, local Tzu Chi volunteers brought them supplies by boat.
其实那个船真的很窄小啊，他们连生活的地方都没有啊。
Also affected by the pandemic, these sea gypsies were in need of help more than ever.
Melalui itu bantuan kami itu Yayasan Suci.
In July 2020, 2 Muslim Tzu Chi volunteers from Turkey donated 2 copies of the Quran to Tzu Chi.
一本是20年，一本是500年，手抄本。我把2本古兰经都送给上人。
In Istanbul, after receiving aid from Tzu Chi, Syrian refugees prayed together for the pandemic to end soon.
اللهم ارحمهم بأن تصرف عنهم هذا البلاء وهذا الوباء.
نتمنى الشفاء لإخوتنا التايوانيين والصينيين وأي بلد في العالم كله، نتمنى لهم المقاومة والنصر على هذا المرض.
The refugees even donated spare change they had on them to help people around the world affected by COVID-19. Altogether, they pooled together over $2,300 US. This is Sierra Leone, a country plagued by civil wars and poverty.
I can hear something in my ears. I can cry.
In July, Tzu Chi donated rice to help local students in need.
And that is what I got from Master. That is not only, yes, you feed the people, but teach them how to feed themselves so that they could not depend on aid.
All are one family. All are one family.
In Mozambique, Tzu Chi broke ground for a primary school in Sofala province. In 2019, Mozambique was hit by Cyclone Idai. Following emergency relief efforts, Tzu Chi started to rebuild schools as children's education cannot wait.
Foi devastado pela esta senhora aqui. O país foi devastado pelo ciclone Idai, gritou por Moçambique e em menos de 4 semanas, 55 países. Antica ajudou, aqui em Nhamatanda Vila ajudou, todo o distrito estão a ajudar há bastante tempo. Quando foi das grandes chuvas.
Como a flor de lótus em terras lamacentas, Sushi é o barco da esperança, é compaixão, é alívio, Sushi é amor.
In August, the COVID-19 test kit developed jointly by Academia Sinica, Tzu Chi University, and Taipei Tzu Chi Hospital was approved by Taiwan's government. After mass production, the kits were donated to countries affected by the pandemic. Also in August, Tzu Chi held an event to honor 30 years of recycling efforts. Tzu Chi's recycling mission started in 1990.
做什么？做分类啦，对不对呢？
Since then, many people have been inspired to recycle.
即摆你若无甲洗，就做粪扫去啊，人也无要甲伊收济啊。
嘛是欢喜心中。
师傅讲有迄个心才爱的，通啊扣这几关啊。
为什么要这样子做？我说做爱心啊，我们救人啊，祭酒啊。
人可以被回收，因为每个人都有他的良人。
To observe the 7th lunar month, which is a month of gratitude and filial piety in Buddhism, Tzu Chi invited a drumming troupe to give a presentation in Hualien, Taiwan. In Latin America, to help people go through the pandemic, Tzu Chi volunteers gave out supplies to the needy, churches and hospitals in many countries, including Mexico. Honduras.
Le pedimos a la Fundación Suchi que nos ayude con la comida porque no hemos comido, tenemos hambre. Gracias.
Guatemala.
A la Fundación Suchi de Taiwán, a todos los que han colaborado de una manera u otra, a las familias también, al nomás llegar a nuestras instalaciones.
Dominican Republic.
A un huracán le pedí a Dios, déjame llegar a donde esta gente, que yo sé que esto es la realidad.
Saint Martin. Ecuador.
Mi tarea es tratar de organizar las entregas de los víveres y de ayudar en lo que más se pueda en la comunidad.
La maestra Chen Yen le mandan un saludo y una fundación que viene ayudando a nivel mundial. Y hoy estamos acá en Bellaflor, pues esperamos que le va a servir de mucha ayuda.
Brazil.
Fico muito grato por isso, porque vai ajudar muito a gente aqui, toda doação é bem-vinda. E a gente está muito feliz com o grupo de ter disponibilizado o tempo e o dia e fazer de coração para poder doar para os nossos residentes, para a nossa casa.
Paraguay.
Camina por la presencia de ustedes, porque imagina todo esto, ¿no? Que llega ahora. Recién está terminando este día, llega con esta bendición.
Argentina.
共体时间，希望这些医疗人员都能够平安。
Tzu Chi, la cual muy amablemente colaboró con nosotros para atención de pacientes.
Chile.
Y estoy muy agradecida por la ayuda que están dando esta organización en estos momentos, en estos tiempos tan difíciles que estamos pasando. Y muchas gracias.
And Bolivia.
Expresar, primeramente desde Santa Cruz, la Sierra Bolivia, nuestro agradecimiento, porque esto es al pueblo cruceño, querido Yen, a la Fundación Tzu Chi de Taiwán.
Cuando fuimos a la fundación y estuvimos presentes con el doctor Lacoa y todo un equipo de Bolivia, nosotros nos sentimos orgullosos y gracias por seguir apoyando a Bolivia y en especial a Santa Cruz y al Hospital Francés.
In the U.S., September alone saw multiple hurricanes, tropical storms, and destructive wildfires. On top of natural disasters, the U.S. has also been hit hard by the pandemic. Putting their own safety aside, Tsuji volunteers held several aid distributions for those affected by disaster or the pandemic.
Fortunate to, have supplies, but all of this really, really, really helps.
We're grateful for this right here, right now.
But I actually knew about the sushi beforehand because when I lost my home in the 2008 fire, you guys were the people that helped me the most.
Until Suu Kyi showed up, there wasn't anyone here who just said, we're just here to help your family right now, quickly.
It burned, and Suu Kyi helped me.
All of 25 years of memories. Sorry.
You can't see behind the mask, but when I talk, my eyes are telling you that I care for you.
Dear friend, from the moment we learned of your hardship, our hearts are with you. We want you to know that you're not alone. We're all brothers and sisters living under the same sky.
When she was reading me the letter from your master, and she was crying, it made me really sad but happy. And then she's talking about how you guys started from just saving coins and just everyone helping the day to spend my coins, towards, because you guys helped me, and I wanna feel like we're connected,
In Lebanon, a deadly explosion at the port of Beirut in August destroyed the homes of nearly 300,000 people. In October, Suu Kyi worked with a local Islamic association to help those affected. In Taiwan, over 2,000 Suu Kyi medical volunteers from 25 countries and regions attended their annual convention in person or online.
因为我们人类永远没有办法把病毒完全清除掉，所以要学习和病毒和平共存。
In November, Dr. Zeng Wenbin, the father of Blackfoot disease treatment, passed away. He was 98. His research was used by the WHO in setting a limit for arsenic in drinking water.
朱文彬教授呢，在砷中毒对健康危害的领域呢，深深受到全世界的重视。他发现呢，砷含量越高，那乌角病的盛行率也越高。那这一篇论文啊，被引用了超过1000次，去检查4万个人了。这个在今天的即使我们有一个很大的团队的努力的情况下，大概也不太容易做得到像他这么棒。
非常了不起，我很多时间去做这个方面的工作。
他做那个病人做的那种记录，我当他儿子，我也很光荣。
在我的心目中呢，他是我们所有医界的晚辈呢学习的典范榜样。
做就对了，上人讲的这一句话。
Also in November, Typhoon Rolly hit the Philippines, affecting more than 2 million people. It was the most powerful storm to hit the country since Typhoon Yolanda in 2013. A Cash for Work program was quickly launched. Feeling deeply for the Philippines, Suu Kyi members and staff in different parts of Taiwan gathered together to send their best wishes to the country and gave what they could to help those affected by rolling.
Há barco que navega pelos mares, procurando corações aquebrantados. A gente em terras distantes, com corações sedentos de amor, como a flor de lótus, em terras lamacentas. Seja tu para os mais necessitados. Sushi é o barco da esperança, é compaixão, é alívio. Sushi é amor. Sushi é o barco da esperança, é compaixão, é alívio. Sushi é amor. Sushi é o barco da esperança, é compaixão, é alívio. Sushi é amor. Sushi é o barco da esperança, é compaixão, é alívio. Sushi é amor. Sushi é o barco da esperança, é compaixão, é alívio. Sushi é amor. Sushi é o barco da esperança, é compaixão, é alívio. Sushi é amor.
The COVID-19 pandemic has cast a dark shadow around the world, bringing tremendous stress and suffering. Since the beginning of this pandemic, Tzu Chi has been giving continuous support towards combating COVID-19. This includes various financial aid, material supplies, and social care support. The next video will show you the relief efforts by Tzu Chi in response to COVID-19 pandemic, detailing how Tzu Chi has brought love and care to the people since the beginning of the outbreak.
The CDC director is now warning a second wave of coronavirus infections this winter likely will be worse.
Malaysia has confirmed its first citizen to be affected. The country has now.
January 2020, the COVID-19 pandemic spreads rapidly on a global scale.
Ialah larangan menyuruh pergerakan dan perhimpunan ramai di seluruh negara.
There were 5 evacuations in less than 5 months. Tzu Chi swiftly mobilized manpower to distribute daily supplies to the evacuees under quarantine, giving them peace of mind. The severe pandemic posed a public health crisis. Tzu Chi KL and Selangor proactively backed the government and medical personnel. Faced with the invisible virus, a professional team is essential to support the frontliners.
管制一颁发出来的时候呢，其实很多人都还没有完全准备好。那时候我们就成立一个 COVID-19 的 call team 小组，里面除了有医疗团队之外，我们也有企业家、职工。那时候初步我们设定的方向是，第一，我们要补助政府医疗上的不足；第二，安定人心。
Since the MCO started on March 18, Tzu Chi volunteers began to make face shields, clean up hospital wards, and produce isolation gowns. As at June 3rd, Tzu Chi had supported 142 hospitals and 1,404 clinics. The frontline workers are among Tzu Chi's top priority, while protective equipments are crucial to support the medical system.
Kekurangan PPE di Kementerian Kesihatan dan juga di klinik swasta, terlebih-lebih klinik swasta PPE ini untuk kegunaan di klinik kami. Walaupun kami boleh beli, tapi masalahnya produk tak ada di pasaran. Pasal menunggu import dari luar negara yang mungkin agak mahal.
要把这份爱送去前线，外面还有这一群人在关心、关怀他们。
During the MCO, the homeless had nowhere to go. The City Hall Enforcement Unit gathered this group of vulnerable people and gave them shelter to prevent infection.
Barang-barang keperluan homeless macam sabun mandi, sama ada buku ataupun ubat gigi, sabun basuh baju yang.
Tzu Chi delivered daily supplies and multi-purpose foldable beds to the homeless shelter. To support the police and military personnel in their MCO operations, Tzu Chi sent face shields, masks, sanitizers, and other protective equipments to police stations and army camps.
Dalam tempoh PKP ini tidak beroperasi.
With a significant increase in the number of inmates, Tzu Chi donated 5,000 mattresses and 10,000 masks to the prison guards and inmates. As society came to a standstill, vulnerable groups lost their incomes. Tzu Chi delivered timely aid to needy families, refugees, foreign workers, and stateless people.
Yayasan Taiwan Buddhist Tzu Chi.
Kerja tak gaji.
Saya selama ada corona, saya pinjam duit tak ada bagi.
Working with UNHCR, Tzu Chi provided cash aid to refugees across Malaysia. Tzu Chi also started hotlines, while volunteers paid visits to needy families, not leaving out anyone in need.
一些米啊，一些米粉啊。
一个 mask mesti
他们其实从他的那个港风出去那边主要通道都会有警察在检查嘛。那他们这一群都是没有任何的证件嘛，所以他们都不敢出去，所以他们只能仅有的剩下的米呀，他们捕鱼啊来吃啊。
From Klang Valley to the stateless communities in East Malaysia, Tzu Chi distributed daily necessities and shopping vouchers to alleviate their suffering and warm their hearts. Wherever there's a need, Tzu Chi will be there.
Within 就口罩还有呼吸器各方面各种防疫物资非常的短缺。
Within 35 days, Tzu Chi KL and Selangor completed 50,000 isolation gowns, 20,000 boot covers, and 30,000 head covers, and delivered them to the worst-hit country, United States.
作为社会的观察者，时常看到需要帮忙的地方有慈济的影子在，慈济站在最前线，无形中也带动了更多人做同样的这个事情，促进这个社会的和谐跟爱心。
Sungguh bersyukur dan amat gembira sekali kerana ada rakyat masih prihatin kepada pasukan polis.
So I'm glad that Suchi came, approached me, because we have to help them, irrespective whether they're citizens or not.
Cuma terima kasih saya makan dengan cuma bagi saya. Thank you very much.
Sekarang saya sudah tak ada kerja, makan pun susah. Lepas itu saya punya sewa, nak bayar macam mana, duduk macam mana pun saya tak boleh fikir. So hari ini macam satu kali kasih saya. Thank you lah, thank you.
Terima kasih banyak-banyak. Mudah-mudahan itu Allah mencipta dunia kasih ini NGO terbaik di Malaysia. Ya, terima kasih itu NGO.
Master Chen Yan said, "Every one of us is like a living bodhisattva. By bringing 500 people together, we can relieve suffering like the Bodhisattva Kuan Yin with 1,000 arms and eyes." Next, let us see the inspiring performance of The World of 1,000 Hands featuring volunteers from Tzu Chi.
生命延续，因为慈悲让生命宽广，因为感恩让生命欢喜，因为善让生命美丽，因为爱让生命延续，因为慈悲让生命宽广，因为感恩让生命欢喜。
The COVID-19 impact on the Malaysia economy is unprecedented. Many have had to stay at home without an income. Their future becomes bleak as they are unable to provide for themselves and their families. With the goal of bringing together kind-hearted Malaysians to help those in dire need, Tzu KL Selangor launched the Kita Satu Keluarga Relief Program. Now let us take a look at this video that features the program.
"所谓的每10年都有一次经济衰退的时候，它的影响是局部性的。这一次最不同就是几乎各行各业大大小小做国际生意、国内生意的都一律受到影响。
这一波疫情由我们率先来帮助呢，也可以让社会上感觉到有更多温暖的力量。
这个 project 叫做守望相助。
我们所要帮助的对象就是马来西亚的国民，我们 ready to help。
K1K, Kita Satu Keluarga in Malay, or 守望相助 in Mandarin. Faced with economic recession and higher unemployment rates, Tzu initiated the K1K relief action. Volunteers not only donated but also invited the public to contribute their kindness by donating money into their bamboo banks.
大家能够合作的话，那么就可以帮助更多的人了。所以这个也是我相信也是守望相助的一个意愿吧。
我都有咁嘅心機可以幫人哋嘅，kita satu keluarga有咗一個 image 啦，另外一個 image 幫得人哋嘅，kita boleh sara hidup lagi lah。
守望相助的计划，它是今年雪龙分会一个非常重要的计划。
主要宗旨当然是要帮忙我们那些因为疫情受影响的家庭走过这个难关。当然很重要的，我们希望在通过这个专案里面去劝善劝诉。
我们这个计划就像一盏明灯，那在种种的支持之下，
除了为经济的事情效劳之外呢，大家都认同体制社会、用户社会。
Bamboo banks aside, the fundraising team approached various business enterprises and numerous communities to garner support.
Help to save the world and save many human beings.
Giving donations is actually something more than just ordinary.
Tzu is all over the world. It does charity work in 100 countries.
And stateless people.
donation for people who are poor that don't have jobs.
守望相助，帮忙我们马来西亚公民的。
社媒也要协助去做更广面的推广哦，比如说 Facebook 是我们最主要的平台了，因为它可以很快很广的传出去嘛。希望更多人来一起帮助有需要的人嘛。idea 要能够让很多人看得到、知道，然后他们能够参与。
What should I do next?
Despite their eagerness to help, the K1K relief applications were unexpectedly low at first. So, community volunteers were mobilized to visit flats, schools, community clinics, and police stations to promote the cause.
Mak sakit, rawatan hospital kan, kaki dah kena potong. Jadi dia pakai pampers. Saya satu orang saja kerja. Semua saya yang tanggung lah. Jadi macam ada efek lah dari segi perbelanjaan.
Jadi sekarang saya cuba isikan butir-butir makcik sekarang. Okay.
Many predicaments surfaced within the community. Volunteers went the extra mile to help complete online applications for those in need, in addition to setting up information counters for ease of reach.
我一个人捐给钱就是一个爱，一个意念。如果全部人把那个意念全部加在一起，就变成一个大爱，就可以送到很多户家庭。
Farm to table。
守望相助，救济要去帮助呢这一些贫苦的人呐。身份证啊。
Amidst the ravaging pandemic, volunteers conducted initial assessments and home visits while strictly observing SOPs set by the government.
Tak boleh beli internet, lepas tu dia orang tak boleh masuk belajar. Susah. Kita guna duit MCA yang Suci bagi itu, kita beli sedikit barang-barang untuk keperluan untuk dibawa Lila.
Saya dapat bantuan ni selama 3 bulan, syukurlah. Dapat bantu saya dan meringankan beban saya lah. So saya dapat berniaga. Saya tak ada modal sendiri tapi saya pakai duit bantuan ni sebagai modal saya untuk berniaga.
To repay the kindness shown to them, some beneficiaries even adopted bamboo banks to help the needy students in East Malaysia.
那些不幸的人士、无国籍的人士，就是我希望这个小的竹筒的钱可以帮助到他们。
Kita bila tolong orang kita akan rasa happy walaupun kita tak mampu dapat tenaga pun kita dah kira okey kan tolong orang betul.
Orang miskin pun boleh bantu orang. Sekarang saja saya fikir kita pun boleh bagi orang duit.
Volunteers also creatively promoted vegetarianism on their visits and invited the public to collectively pray for the world's
Kira kalau dia
betterment.
makan, boleh satu. Kalau saya makan, tangan buahkan
Kembali ya, tengok boleh.
Buah-buahan tanam. Kalau tak ada saya makan Thailand. Dah sudah sama macam.
Ya.
Good days, ladies and gentlemen. 1 year had gone by, but the COVID-19 crisis and route recovery remains uncertain and with little breakthrough. It has impacted the human race. We are forced to make sudden and drastic change to our lifestyle and livelihood. The conduct of this year's year-end blessing event is no different. We have to take a new path to change the way we have conducted it over the years and find an alternative, a solution, and that is holding it online. COVID-19 has created havoc across the globe and put the world economy in the doldrums. In the midst of this adversity, we are thankful that many of you have risen to the occasion. You have shown your love and compassion by donating to the foundation for us to help channel your love to the poor and needy during this difficult time. Thank you so much for your continuous support. Since January last year, Tzu Chi Worldwide had distributed more than 25 million pieces of personal protective equipment, medical gloves, face masks, protective gowns, and etc. In Malaysia alone, the PPE had benefited frontliners at 2,000 plus public and private institutions, the hospital, police department, prison, and etc. This is indeed very heartening. When the government implemented MCO in March last year, many of the vulnerable groups such as foreign workers and refugees could not sustain their life. We are so grateful that despite the restriction during the MCO, the government had allowed volunteers from many NGO and agencies, inclusive Tzu Chi, to reach out and distribute cash voucher and necessity to help the needy brace through this difficult time, especially the basic need of putting food on the table. A crisis of this magnitude is unimaginable. The volunteer may be able to brave through the storm, but the impoverished have little means to do so. Malaysians, in particular the B40 group, their income were affected. To help move them on, Tzu Chi started the project Kita Satu Keluarga Relief Fund project, and 2,000 plus households benefited from this. A big thanks to all the love and support from well-wishers, entrepreneurs who have chipped in to help the needy through this difficult period. In January this year, heavy rain caused floods at east coast of Malaysia. Tzu Chi volunteers were mobilized to help with the cleanup, delivering hot meals, and distribution of monetary aid. Whenever and wherever there is a willing calling for help, Tzu Chi love and cares will always be there. Master Chen Yuan said, to put the pandemic behind us, human beings need to be vigilant and reverent. The best way to show our reverence is to embrace vegetarianism. A lot of study had also shown that vegetarian diet can lower the risk of all kinds of disease and strengthen the immune system. Truly the best solution for this pandemic. Embracing vegetarianism can also help slow down global warming that has brought about disaster after disaster. Yes, human being needs to learn to coexist with Mother Earth. If we can do this simple act of respecting nature, reducing our desire, we'll be able to live safely, peacefully, joyously, because the world will have less disaster. Nature has it that with the break of dawn, everything in pitch darkness will turn bright. So goes for the lesson that nature has for us. With a shift in mindset, with a simple step and action of respecting nature, respecting life, the pandemic can be put behind us for good. Let us help make a difference. Let's move toward a safe, peaceful year. Wishing everyone a blessed New Year 2021. Stay safe, stay healthy.感恩.
Master Chen Yan said, the only way to ward off the outbreak is to love yourself and others, stay united and help each other. Let us learn from this pandemic. Be kind and do good to bring harmony to the world. While Master is unable to join us physically here today, let us rejoice in receiving Master Chen Yan's blessing through a specially recorded video. Now, let us pay attention to the words of wisdom of Master Chen Yan.
现在面对的这个时代，灾难人祸很严重， 所以我们现在正是人间呢要觉悟的时候。所以师父说，大在教义啊，我们要教人人行善。这个善呢，要实现出来，那就是爱。爱呢，要大爱，要完整的大爱。什么叫做完整大爱？这种山河大地人间以众生，我们都要有一个完整的爱。所以我们要爱人，我们要济贫。在救贫的当中呢，我们也可以呢引导富有的人去见苦，知自己很有福，都惜福一点，不要太浪费惜福的力量来造福人间，那就让贫穷的人呐，就可以消灭。积善之家有余庆，每一个人的家庭，善良的越多，愿意造福的人，这个家庭会平安和乐。那这社区啦，多家庭来行善，整个社区呢也会祥和。爱人、爱物、复生，唯有呢，全人类能做到，就会真正的天下太平。要不然呐，四大不调，还有呢，三灾不断，这就是众生共业呀。唯有呼吁大家，那一旦一个动作，就是树爱护生灵，那一切都解决了。道理回归是真简单，只是呢，人的无明贪欲呢很难在教育，很难，这种难呐，无法度好讲吼。叫大家人舍身外财来救人，人人都无困难。要人人呢，你如数嘛，那就困难多了。只要人一开口，就有2000多的生命受杀害往生，累积一天是2亿多啦。这是口一张开，杀业惨重啊！这一些生灵啊，那样的哀嚎恨怨的是多么的强烈。假如人人都能生活啦，平常呢，这样维持的如数，不杀生，爱护生灵，培养爱心，这叫做功德。这呢，才是真正的消灾，才是真正的造福。大哉教义是真诚的教义啊！请大家要用心用爱哈，那和互协啦，要多富裕哈，人人要持戒，要甲咱做人的戒律，爱好好过修会好啦。同时呢，用虔诚的心呐，来如数斋戒哈。那我们大家呢，要时刻都要忏悔，期待呢，天下都要平安呐。爱的能量是在人人的身心力行中，爱做出来啦。不为今生呢，也要为来世啦。大家要共同互相的勉励哈啊，感恩呐。
As in the past, Chinese New Year is always celebrated with families, relatives, and friends. But with the surge in COVID-19 cases, the safest measure is for all of us to stay at home and avoid gatherings and traveling. It can be challenging, but let's do our part, yeah? Over the next 2 days, we have some interesting programs to keep you entertained. Let's take a look at the following clips.
特备节目《春游进思堂，回家过新年》。对于许久没有来到金石堂的朋友们啊，你们是否还记得金石堂？我们今天就会出动2组团队来为大家进行导览，一起在线上参访金石堂。
但是我听说这个建筑是绿色建筑，可是我都没有看到绿色的
定义啊。老婆饼里面有没有老婆啊？
当然没有。
哇，世博，为什么这个铅笔那么小一个呢？
对，这个只有1公分啊。其实我小时候有用过这样的铅笔。 因为我们家境也不是很好啊，
真是可以体会到山区小朋友求学之路不容易啊。
今年呢，由于疫情的关系，我们都不能够返乡过年，所以啊，以往呢都是一个大家族聚在一起，热热闹闹的。 但是今年呢，就是一个小家庭一个小家庭单独在家里庆祝，甚至有的单身的朋友啊，可能就是一个人度过这个春节。不过没有关系，我们来陪您一起过年。虽然我们不能够走亲访友了，但是呢，我们可以透过科技，利用连线的方式来实现拜年。
With your encouragement and support, Tzu Chi is able to carry out its mission of love in Malaysia and every part of the world. The world will be a better place if all of us put kindness into action. With that, today's event has come to an end. Let us now pray with one heart, sending love and compassion to all sentient beings. This is Sweetie, wishing you good health and blessings in abundance. Stay safe.